The episode starts with Amanda Waller's early routine for a cup of coffee and a news broadcast. The news reports Lex Luthor's announcement of candidacy for the U.S. presidency. As she is about to grab the towel after showering, Batman hands it over to her surprise. Although Waller's home boasts of high security systems, Batman manages to enter without triggering the alarms. Batman warns her about the secret work against the Justice League she supervises, mentioning her projects about secret weapons, illegal cloning activities, bypassing Congress, and many more. Waller responds that the League's parallel universe adventures might result in a catastrophe like the Justice Lord's incident. As a countermeasure, she leads Project Cadmus in the case when the Justice League goes rogue again. Batman tells her if she poses a threat to humanity, the League will take her down, to which Waller disagrees and says that the League is the one with a nuclear-type weapon that can destroy the planet, with another 7 of them capable of assassinating the president and overthrowing the government. Waller emphasizes that the real threat is the League. Batman leaves and Waller triggers the alarm with shaky hands. The League's 7 founding members conduct a meeting to discuss the true motives of the Cadmus project. Batman reports that Cadmus has grown too powerful and continues to develop weapons to fight the League. Having no federal funds for such huge project, they suspect that Lex Luthor is the obvious source of funds. Batman informs them that he assigned the question to find the hidden link between Luthor and Cadmus. Simultaneously, also in a meeting, the Cadmus Project's department heads turn over their reports to Waller. The other departments have good progress in their respective research, but Dr. Milo shows no significant results. His department's work with splicing animals failed tremendously when they lost control of one of their prototypes. Waller orders his department's termination and that he will be assigned to a lower-ranking position while also confiscating the files of his research. In response, Milo decides to sneak into the chamber where Doomsday is being restrained due to his uncontrollable nature. The lobotomized part of his brain caused by Superman, the one from Justice Lord, has recovered and makes him capable enough to fight. Milo reveals that Doomsday's existence is only orchestrated by Waller, Hamilton, and Hugo Strange. Doomsday was created from Superman's genetic material. He was tortured as part of his conditioning to hate Superman. Milo explains that it is not Superman he should go after, but Waller and the others to avenge them both. Doomsday tricks Milo and agrees to help him solve his problem, but Doomsday has another plan, to snuff out Milo's life and Superman's afterward. Meanwhile, some of the League members along with Superman are in San Baquero. A volcano is on the verge of eruption, and the island needs assistance with evacuation. As Flash and Wonder Woman help in organizing the vehicles for evacuation, Superman is inside the volcano and tries to depressurize it by making several vents throughout its body to minimize the danger levels of the eruption. Doomsday appears from the outside and declares his evil intent on Superman. He wrestles Superman and bombards him with punches. Superman kicks him and uses his heat vision to trample a large rock over him, but Doomsday is strong enough to withstand his attacks. Although Superman explains his innocence on the tortures inflicted on him, Doomsday continues his assault and says this is what he is made for. Afraid that Doomsday might annihilate the whole planet after Superman, Waller orders General Eiling to stop Doomsday no matter what. Eiling then authorizes the launch of a nuclear missile with a kryptonite warhead heading for San Baquero. In the Watchtower, Jayons detects the missile and asks who launches it in the first place. Batman calls Waller, who has no idea what Eiling has done, and tells her to call off the missile. As Captain Atom is too far to stop the missile in time, Batman hurries to the Javelin Bay for an emergency launch. He pierces the ship through the atmosphere at high speed despite Jayons' warning of burning up upon entry. Waller storms inside Eiling's quarters and asks him to abort the missile. However, the missile has already reached the point where it cannot be stopped even if he wants to. He also mentions that the government's problem with Superman, Doomsday, and drug trafficking on San Baquero will be solved once the missile hits the island. It's like hitting 3 birds with 1 stone, he says. The intense fight between Superman and Doomsday continues outside of the volcano while Flash and Wonder Woman assist the army in the immediate evacuation. Jayons radios Wonder Woman and warn her about the missile. She asks Flash to take the evacuees as far away as possible while she goes back for Superman. Aboard the Javelin, Batman flies behind the missile and ejects a pair of rockets in an attempt to stop it. Unfortunately, the missile is equipped with a magnetic field that repels the rockets. Jayons advises him that the only option left is to use the Javelin's magnetic field. Batman charges the engine at full throttle and the Javelin sticks to the missile, steering it off course to avoid the island. Batman arduously maneuvers the Javelin and the missile across the island and ejects himself. It crashes into the sea, and an enormous explosion follows. A tidal wave caused by the explosion sweeps over Batman's escape pod. Jayons tries to contact him, but receives no response. As the rescue ships flee, the tidal wave also sweeps over the coast. Superman tries to penetrate Doomsday's brain using his heat vision, but he only receives a powerful punch in return. He delivers several blows on Doomsday's face and slams the latter onto the ground with his foot. He then tosses Doomsday into the volcano's vent, causing it to erupt violently. Superman weakly falls to his knees, having no strength to escape, but Wonder Woman comes and saves him in time. On the Watchtower, Flash, Wonder Woman, Superman, Green Lantern, and Martian Manhunter interrogate Doomsday before them, who is now trapped in a block of cooled magma. Just like Dr. Milo, Superman persuades Doomsday to believe that Cadmus only used him to destroy Superman. Unable to get any information about Cadmus, Superman uses the Phantom Zone projector to send Doomsday into another dimension. Doomsday swears that the League will regret not finishing him. Later that day, Superman and Wonder Woman visit Batman, who is now recovering in the Watchtower's infirmary. He rebukes Superman's decision and says that Cadmus's reason to fear the Justice League is justifiable. Superman assures him that the League will never act the way Justice Lords did, even if Luthor becomes the president. Superman and Wonder Woman leaves and allow Bruce to rest. Left in the darkness, Bruce sees one of Luthor's campaign commercials on the television, making him think about the possible threat the humans and the League may come across in the future. In the next episode, a prisoner at the Belle Reve Correctional is being led toward the end of his life. Floyd Lawton, also known as Deadshot, the world's most lethal marksman, treads the prison grounds going to the execution chamber. He was imprisoned for the failed assassination of a U.S. senator. Even when facing his demise, Floyd shows no signs of fear or remorse. Arriving at the chamber, a man hands over a paper to the warden without telling a word. Floyd has a visitor, who also intends to free him. The prison guard uncuffs Floyd as ordered by the warden. The unknown visitor takes him on a car ride away from the prison. That unknown visitor is U.S. Colonel Rick Flag. He introduces himself to Floyd. Before Floyd can try to escape, Flag threatens him that the last meal he ate was tainted with explosive nanites, a microscopic mechanism that can eliminate him if he refuses to cooperate. Flag hands him an envelope containing the picture of the Justice League Watchtower, the target for the heist. Floyd eagerly agrees. He always wanted to pass on for his country. Flag brings him to a warehouse previously used by Lex Luthor, where he meets the other members of the squad, Task Force X. Flag introduces him to the other members: George Harkness, Ack, a Captain Boomerang, an expert thief and inventor, Temple Fugate, the Clock King, who is very skilled at planning, tactics, and an expert in locks and systems infiltration. Lastly, the explosive expert Bet Sans Sausai, Ack, a plastique. After settling down, Flag briefs the squad about the plan. The Watchtower's population will allow them to blend in perfectly while they are disguised as part of the staff. Fugate, their tactician, explains that the time of the infiltration will happen when only Captain Atom, Green Lantern John Stewart, and Jayons are aboard the headquarters. To avoid any serious problems with their getaway and being trapped inside the Watchtower, there should be no bloodshed. Their mission begins by ambushing 4 Watchtower staff. They use tranquilizers to put the unaware staffs to sleep before taking their place and getting teleported to the Watchtower. Once they get in, they pass through the security check swiftly using Flag's prop glasses that can disable the computer system. They proceed to their plan. Boomerang and Flag sneak into the storage area. Deadshot and Plastique move to the generator room, where they meet Green Lantern in the elevator. The episode begins with Tala's attempt to remove the weakness of the Annihilator. Its power only relies on violence and rage. After the break-in at the Watchtower, Tala is able to possess the Annihilator as one of the department heads of Project Cadmus. Trapped in a mirror after Tala rescued him from Tartarus, Felix Faust watches her student as her attempts fail. Faust is Tala's mentor. She cannot find the spell to remove the Annihilator's weakness. Faust deceives her, saying he knows how. He instructs her to recite a spell that frees Faust, and traps her inside the mirror instead. He takes control of the Annihilator afterward. In the Watchtower's cafeteria, Flash tries to patch things up between Shayra and Wonder Woman. Their relationship has been rugged when Shayra broke Diana's trust due to her betrayal during the Thanagarian invasion on Earth. Even with Flash's efforts, the two still cannot stand each other's presence, and both end up leaving. Diana passes by the infirmary and sees Jayons trying to calm down a Trigon, who is struggling and seems to be under the influence of invisible agonizing torture. Jayons informs her that the same thing is happening with the other League members who possess magical powers, including Dr. Fate and Zatanna. Diana returns to her quarters and finds a man waiting for her, who she initially thought to be Flash. It was Hermes, the messenger of the gods. He delivers a message from Zeus that Diana needs to travel to the Messira and enter the gates of Tartarus at once. Hermes informs her that Felix Faust's spirit possessed the Annihilator and went straight for Hades' throne in Tartarus to take revenge. Now that Faust has taken over the throne, the balance between chaos and order has been disturbed. The League's magic users, also Diana's friends, suffer from agony due to the disturbance. Diana must restore the balance to save her friends. After Diana realizes that her weapons are not enough, she sneaks into Shayra's quarters to borrow the mace as she thinks the weapon will help disrupt magic. Shayra catches Diana, but instead of letting her borrow the mace, Shayra insists on coming to Themyscira with Diana. They reach the gates of Tartarus and Themyscira, where they find demons trying to escape through the gates. Hippolyta objects to Diana's presence due to her exile as ordered by the gods, but Diana still insists that she needs to. Before entering the gate, Hippolyta lets her know about her armor's full power and touches her tiara to unlock it. Diana enters the gates. Hippolyta asks Shayra to aid Diana and ensure that they both return safely, to which she agrees and flies toward the gates following Diana. Diana and Shayra fly above the molten grounds of Tartarus. There they face a group of demons that are trying to escape. One of the demons snatches Shayra by her wings but later backs down upon seeing her wings. Shayra tricks them into thinking she is an angel. Terrified to face the wrath of the gods, the demons flee. Shayra suggests they free Hades first and uses their combined powers to defeat Faust. But Diana refuses while reminiscing the things Hades did to her mother and herself. Shayra then agrees, and now the problem left for them is to find Faust. Already knowing a way, Shayra snatches a demon named Abnegazar who first declines to tell them Faust's whereabouts. Using Diana's lasso of truth, Abnegazar has no choice but to tell the truth. He leads them to Hades' library deep within Tartarus. Before they enter the library, Abnegazar warns them and says that they should not really go. Inside, Faust happily absorbs all forbidden ancient knowledge he can read when the two arrive and confront him. Faust, who is not in the mood to fight, casts a spell and sends the two down a snowy area of Tartarus. There, chained to a huge rock, is the screaming Hades, being tormented by a wake of vultures. Diana frees Hades, and they teleport back to the library to attack Faust. Shayra burns the books, getting Faust's attention, and Hades comes in with a powerful punch. The Annihilator proves to be so strong it can withstand the power of a god. Diana orders Faust to give up and reveals she knows the secret of the armor. However, Faust has removed the Annihilator's weakness beforehand and hit her flying through a wall. Faust casts a spell that gives life to the burning skeletons that proceed to attack Shayra to get her out of his way. Faust turns the attacking Diana into a mummy, and Hades comes to her aid. Although powerful, Faust's magic fused with the Annihilator overmatches those of Hades. Shayra appears and batters the Annihilator with her mace, which proves to affect the armor. Faust grabs Shayra and begins to mangle her. Diana charges with the mace and delivers a fatal blow to the head of the Annihilator, destroying it to pieces. Shayra wakes up to the face of Diana. The battle is now over, but the library has been destroyed. A piece of Faust's soul is all that was left of him. Hades picks it up and says he now has a new hobby, tormenting Faust's soul. Hades refers to Diana as my child, which irritates her. She threatens him that he might end up like Faust if he continues saying that. Hades asks her if she has any idea who her father is, implying that he might be, to which Diana responds that her mother sculpted her from clay. He claims that Hippolyta gives life to Diana as a reminder of him when he was banished to Tartarus. Shayra insists on using the lasso to Hades, but Diana refuses and says she already knows what she needs to know. Back in Themyscira, a celebrating crowd greets them upon their return from Tartarus. Diana gives thanks to her mother for unlocking her armor's true potential. Hippolyta invites the two to a feast before they depart. When Diana is about to refuse due to her exile, Hippolyta assures her that Themyscira is her home, and that she will take care of the gods if they disapprove. Diana and Shayra patch up a small piece of their broken friendship as they depart the gates. On the next episode, the action begins in a large mansion in the middle of the forest, Huntress's target. It was Stephen Mandragora's residence, guarded by armed security personnel. After dealing with the watchkeepers, Huntress infiltrates Mandragora's bedroom and easily evades the laser traps. She expresses her hatred towards the passing of her parents on Mandragora's hand. She comes for revenge, and without hesitation, she empties her crossbow into the sleeping Mandragora. To her surprise, instead of the lifeless body of her target, a pile of carefully arranged pillows is under the sheets. She is dumbfounded as her chance gets blown up. Before she can react, she is teleported to the watchtower where the angry Jaons waits. He confronts her as she violates his direct order to keep her hands off Mandragora. She realizes that the League tipped Mandragora of her arrival, and Jaons also confirms it. He assures her that it is also for her own safety, but what happened that night is a test, and she miserably failed it. Jaons dismisses her and orders her to turn in her identification card. She is no longer part of the Justice League. Taken aback by Jaons' decision, she throws her ID card and storms out of the bridge. Huntress returns to her quarters to pack her things when she hears Question from the other room loudly thinking about the connection between Luthor and the Cadmus project. She enters Question's room and interrupts his investigation. Huntress sees this as an opportunity to hunt Mandragora. Thus she offers Question a deal. She will tell everything she knows about Cadmus in return for Question's help to find Mandragora. Question agrees, and both set out to begin their mission. Meanwhile, Mandragora is in a safe house eating oysters and being guarded by federal agents and two members of the Justice League, Green Arrow and Black Canary. He is expected to testify against his criminal allies, and the federal government will grant him immunity from the prosecution in return for his testimonies. Green Arrow, however, does not seem to enjoy being in the same room as Mandragora, who keeps on provoking him about Black Canary. The agents try to stop Green Arrow from doing something to Mandragora. Black Canary shows no concern about what Mandragora says until he mentions the heroes of the Justice League. The two ended up being kicked out of the house to guard outside after Black Canary punched Mandragora. Patrolling from the treehouse, Canary expresses how annoyed she is about knowing they need to protect a criminal. Green Arrow says that the world is not perfect. As they share an intimate moment, they see a police car pulling up near the house. Not long after, Huntress and Question follow. Green Arrow and Black Canary confront the two who just got down from climbing a fence. Huntress tries to make an alibi and says it is for a league business, but Green Arrow has been warned by Jaons beforehand. Black Canary swears that the two will not get close to Mandragora unless they get to pass them. A fight ensues. Green Arrow engages in a fistfight against Question while Black Canary shows off her combat skills to Huntress, who initially underestimated her. Huntress and Question end up losing after an intense fight. The commotion was interrupted by a loud thud inside the house. Mandragora is gone. It turns out that the police officers are Mandragora's thugs who helped him escape. They enter the house to find the ruins of the fight between the federal agents and Mandragora. As Canary angrily reprimands the two for the trouble they had caused, Green Arrow notices that Question picks something up, and the latter shows a key to a locker at the train station. Black Canary and Green Arrow leave to chase after Mandragora. Question then reveals that he hid the true clue, a schedule of a freighter at the docks. However, Green Arrow already sensed something suspicious. Along with Black Canary, they lay in wait in the treehouse as Huntress and Question rush to get to the docks. On their way, Question admits to knowing Huntress's past and her reason for taking revenge. That Huntress cannot give any information about Cadmus as she knows nothing about it. The scene shifts to Huntress's past. Her father, Franco Bertinelli, is a powerful mob boss whom Mandragora works for. But one day, Mandragora decided he no longer wanted to take orders, so he laid Huntress's parents to rest while she watched from a closet. Mandragora then took control of the gang. Huntress blinks in tears as she remembers her painful past and asks why Question still helped her despite knowing the truth. Question doesn't answer and then notices someone is following them. Green Arrow and Black Canary aboard a motorcycle. The chase begins. Question enters a railway tunnel and manages to lose the two due to an approaching train heading directly towards Green Arrow and Black Canary. Arrow asks Jaons to teleport them away, dropping them in the ocean nearby. Huntress and Question arrive at the docks to wait for Mandragora. She implies that Mandragora plans to escape on one of the freighters, while Question suggests that Mandragora might be meeting someone. A huge freight ship arrives, followed by Mandragora a few moments after. Huntress and Question hide while they wait for Mandragora to make a move when suddenly, Green Arrow and Black Canary charge toward Mandragora to attack. Mandragora easily outpowered the two, sending Black Canary to trample over the boxes. Green Arrow comes to the rescue with a bunch of his electric arrows ready to shoot Mandragora. Even electrocuted, Mandragora's strength is still unmatched. Question jumps in and strangles Mandragora. However, Mandragora easily snatches him from the back and slams him to the ground. Black Canary uses her canary cry to subdue Mandragora, but fails as she weakly falls to her knees. Huntress appears and points her crossbow at Mandragora and replies he will be returned to custody. However, Huntress says that's not what she plans on doing. She is about to pull the trigger when a small boy from the freight ship runs toward Mandragora and calls him Papa. Mandragora kneels to hug his son and explains that his son was kidnapped by a rival gang and that it took him so long to rescue him. And now that his son was rescued, he intends to disappear along with the boy and start a new life. He never wanted to cooperate with the agents as he only intended to buy time until he could be with his son again. Huntress hesitates to do what she had planned from the beginning as she sees the man who was once a murderer be a loving father to his son. Question asks her if executing Mandragora is what she wants. Huntress looks at the boy hiding behind the man who eliminated her parents, and then pulls the trigger. She fires the crossbow up, cutting the suspension rope from one of the crane's loads. The heavy metal load drops onto Mandragora, knocking him down. The federal agents take over the custody of Mandragora once again, and his son is given to the child protection agents. Later that night, Huntress realizes that Question knew Mandragora's son will arrive, but also asks Question why he would go through so much effort to help her. He shyly answers that he likes her. Although shocked by Question's confession, she grabs him by his tie and shows that she feels the same with a kiss. As the couple walks away, Black Canary jokingly expresses her disgust toward the two.